In the fall of 1982, 7 people in the Chicago area went to bed with a headache. They reached for the most trusted painkiller in America, and they never woke up. The killer was never caught. The motive was never confirmed. And the method they used permanently changed the way every single product in America is packaged to this day. This is the story of the 1982 Tylenol Murders, the most influential unsolved crime in American history. It started on the morning of September 29, 1982. In the quiet Chicago suburb of Elk Grove Village, a 12-year-old girl named Mary Kellerman woke up with a sore throat and a runny nose. Her parents gave her a single extra-strength Tylenol capsule. Within hours, she collapsed on the bathroom floor. She was pronounced dead at the hospital. Across town, that same morning, a 27-year-old postal worker named Adam Jonas died suddenly at his home. Doctors initially suspected a heart attack. His family gathered to grieve. And at that gathering, his brother Stanley and Stanley's wife Teresa both took Tylenol from the same bottle Adam had used. Both died within days. 3 members of one family, 1 bottle, 1 weekend. By the end of that week, 4 more people were dead. Mary McFarland, Paula Prince, Mary Reiner, who had just given birth 4 days earlier, and 35-year-old flight attendant Paula Prince, found dead in her apartment, a Tylenol bottle on the counter beside her. 7 victims, all in the Chicago area, all within days of each other, all dead after taking extra-strength Tylenol. Investigators were baffled. These people had no connection to each other. Different neighborhoods, different ages, different lives. The only thing they shared was that bottle. When medical examiners finally connected the deaths, they rushed the bottles to a laboratory. What they found was terrifying. Someone had taken bottles of extra-strength Tylenol off store shelves, opened the capsules, replaced the medication inside with potassium cyanide, a poison so lethal that a single capsule contained 65 milligrams, 5 times the amount needed to kill a person. Then, they put the bottles back on the shelves. Think about that for a moment. This person walked into a store, selected bottles at random, poisoned them, and returned them, knowing that whoever picked them up next would die. It wasn't targeted. It wasn't personal. This was random mass murder hiding in plain sight. When police went public with the information, Chicago erupted into panic. Stores pulled Tylenol from shelves overnight. People threw away every bottle in their homes. Hospitals were flooded with people who thought they'd been poisoned. The city, one of the largest in America, was paralyzed by fear. Johnson & Johnson, the company behind Tylenol, made a decision that would later be studied in every business school in the world. They recalled 31 million bottles of Tylenol nationwide, at a cost of over $100 million, voluntarily, before they were legally required to. It was the largest consumer product recall in American history at that time. The FBI, the FDA, and the Chicago Police Department launched one of the largest investigations in American history. Over 100 agents were assigned to the case. They interviewed thousands of people, traced the bottles back through the supply chain, tested hundreds of other Tylenol products across the country, and they hit wall after wall. The bottles that had been tampered with came from at least 2 different production batches, meaning the killer hadn't poisoned them at the factory. They had done it after the bottles reached the stores. possibly at multiple locations, possibly over multiple days. Investigators had no fingerprints, no witnesses, no clear motive. But they did have suspects. The first major suspect was a man named James William Lewis. Shortly after the murders, Lewis sent a letter to Johnson & Johnson, demanding $1 million to stop the killings. He was arrested, tried, and convicted. But not for murder, for extortion. Lewis consistently maintained he had nothing to do with the poisonings themselves. And crucially, investigators could never place him at any of the stores, could never connect him to the cyanide. He served 13 years in prison for the extortion. And the murder charges were never filed. James William Lewis died in 2023. The case remains officially unsolved. There was a second suspect, a man whose name has never been publicly released, who was investigated for years but never charged. To this day, law enforcement has not officially named a killer. Here is what makes the Tylenol murders unlike almost any other unsolved case in American history. The killer was never caught, but their actions reshaped the entire country. Within months of the murders, the United States government passed the Federal Anti-Tampering Act, making it a federal crime to tamper with consumer products. The FDA introduced mandatory tamper-evident packaging regulations. Those foil seals you peel off every medicine bottle, the plastic wrap around the cap, the inner seal you puncture with your finger, all of it, every single piece of it, exists because of what happened in Chicago in the fall of 1982. Before the Tylenol murders, almost no consumer products had tamper-evident seals. After, it became the global standard, not just for medicine, for food, for cosmetics, for every product you open today. Every time you struggle to open a new bottle of aspirin, you're feeling the direct consequence of a crime that was never solved. Johnson & Johnson's handling of the crisis is still taught as the gold standard of corporate crisis management. They chose consumer safety over profit, recalled everything, communicated openly, redesigned their packaging. Within a year, Tylenol had recaptured its market share. The brand survived. So who did it? After more than 40 years, no one has been charged with the murders. James Lewis, the man who sent the extortion letter, always claimed he was trying to frame his own enemy, not actually collect the money. An elaborate and deeply strange story. But investigators could never disprove it entirely. Some theories point to a disgruntled employee somewhere in the supply chain. Others suggest a copycat element, that the killer was inspired by earlier, smaller tampering incidents. A few researchers believe the killer may have been mentally ill, acting without any coherent motive at all. The FBI reportedly reopened the investigation multiple times over the decades. As recently as 2009, investigators searched James Lewis's home again. They found nothing conclusive. When Lewis died in 2023, he took whatever he knew to his grave. The case is still open. The file still exists. And somewhere out there, the real killer, if still alive, has never answered for 7 deaths. The 1982 Tylenol murders changed America in ways most people never think about. Every sealed bottle, every tamper-proof cap, every foil wrapper. They are monuments to 7 people who died for no reason, and to a killer who was never found. If you made it this far, you already know this case deserves to be remembered. The next case we're covering on Gravenfield is just as disturbing. and just as unresolved. Subscribe so you don't miss it. This is Gravenfield. Unsolved, unexplained, unforgettable.